Students, so in this video we'll be learning regarding the two topics of the ecosystem. This is the last video for this topic, such as ecological succession and nutrient cycle. Okay, coming to the ecological succession. So what first of all we will know what is the succession. Say succession means the natural development, okay, of a series of biotic communities over a long period of time, one after the other in the same area, resulting in the establishment of a stable or climax community. Okay, so when we hear the definition also I have given, it is a gradual, slow, predictable change in a species composition of an area, leading to a climax community. The climax community that it is in equilibrium with the environment. In this, some species colonize an area and increases in the number, whereas other species decline and disappear. Okay. So here in ecological succession means see in this drawing you can see this picture. In this picture, these are the rocks which are being exposed. Suddenly, these rocks are occupied by lichens and mosses. Later on, this the first species which will occupy the barren rocks or the soil, we call them as what? Pioneer species. So first species here the sentence given invading a bare area are called as pioneer species here. So first species which occupy the bare area, we call it as pioneer species. As lichens starts growing, mosses growing, you can see after a few weeks suddenly annual weeds will start growing, means small shrubs will be seen. Then it will be continued by the herbs. The shrubs and herbs readily develops, and you can see the growth of the trees here, plants here, and the trees. And the final stage, what happened? You can find a forest area created, which we call it as climax community. Climax means in films and all, you would have been heard, no, end situation of the film. In the same way, here end situation of this program is a climax community, where it would have been started with the small lichens and ended with a formation of a forest. For example, I will tell you, see, pond, ನಿಮ್ಮೂರ್ ಕೆರೆಗಳು ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕಸ ತಂದು ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ. ಒಂದ್ ವರ್ಷ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಕೆರೆನೇ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫುಲ್ಲು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಯಾರೋ ಬಂದು ಅದನ್ನ ಕಬ್ಬಳಿಸ್ಕೊತಾರೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲೆಕ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ನೇನಾದ್ರೂ ಕಟ್ಟಡನ ಕಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇದು ನಮ್ ಜಾಗ ಅನ್ಕೋತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನೇ ನಾವ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋದದ್ದು ಅದು ಆರ್ಟಿಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಸಕ್ಸೆಷನ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಸಕ್ಸೆಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಎರಡು ತರ ಸಕ್ಸೆಷನ್ ಇದೆ. ಒಂದ that is the succession will be seen in the water body. Another succession will be seen on the barren land. So these are the two types of the succession will enter, and this change will take places in a series, and those change in an area. So entire sequence community successfully changed in an area, we call it as sera. Then individual transitional community is termed as serial stages. Okay, it takes places in the series. So it is called as serial stages. Okay. So here this in the successive serial stages, what happens? Whatever I've explained in this diagram, I have written in the sentences. So there is a change in the species diversity, increase in the number of species and organism, and total increase in the biomass. The present day, the communities are due to the succession of the millions of years. Succession and evolution will go in a parallel process. I told succession are of two types, such as primary succession and the secondary succession. So coming to the primary succession, usually what happens, primary succession will be slower, secondary succession will be faster. So in this picture you see, this is a barren rock. It is occupied by lichens, I told you, which we call it as pioneer species. Later, this will be occupied by the small grasses, then shrubs, herbs, then it will become a forest area, which we call it as a climax community, I told. So when here the rocks are being acquired by the lichens what they do, they will produce the water, I mean water reservoir will occur over here. As it breaks the rocks and makes into soil, on the soil bed you can see the growth of the plants. So it takes a long time. So primary succession is little bit slower. So in sentence I have written here, the succession takes places in the area where no living organism have ever existed. So newly cooled lava, bare rock, a newly created pond or reservoir. To establish a biotic community, fertile soil must be formed. So fertile soil must be formed means the rock will undergo withering. When it undergo withering, it will break into small particles to make the soil. When the soil is formed, and the soil becomes fertile, immediately you can see the growth of the small plants, that is herbs and also the shrubs. So succession is very slow process in primary succession, especially primary succession is said to be very slow process. Coming to secondary succession here, see the succession takes place in an area after the existed organism are lost. See, for example, in the forest area, fire occurs. All the plants, trees, everything become ash. But when it lands into the soil, this becomes the fertile soil after few years, after rain. Occurs, the ashes are converted into humus, and it will become the fertile soil. So after it becomes the fertile soil here, you can see there is a small growth of the grasses and it will lead into the plants. Then it will form an climax community too. So succession takes places in an area which is after the existed organism are lost. Example, abandoned farmlands, burned or cut forests, lands that are flooded. So since some soil or sediment in present, succession is quite faster. Secondary succession is faster than that of the primary succession. So the species that invade depend on the nature of the soil, availability of the water, etc. Okay. So in a succession, or the change in the vegetation or affect the food shelter of the animals, the succession leads to change in number and types of animals and also the decomposers. So here there are two here, see, natural or human induced disturbance such as deforestation, fire, etc. convert a particular serial stage to an earlier stage. They create a new condition that encourage some species and discourage or eliminate other species. Okay. Okay. So based on the nature of the habitat, the plant succession is classified into two types. One is hydrarch, that is in water body. Another one is exarch, that is in the land. On the land it is. So ecological succession in plants, how it occurs. So in hydric succession, I told you know it takes places in the wetter areas. It progresses from the hydric to mesic condition. Mesic condition means land formation. So or a desert formation. Then exarch succession means it takes place in the dry areas, that is in the barren land. This is the example. The rock, barren rock or the land where the lichens occupy. Then it leads to the formation of a forest. It progresses from the xeric to again mesic condition. There is also forest formation. So hence both hydrarch and exarch succession lead to the medium water conditions. Mesic means I told you, climax community formation of a forest. Okay, so see here. So here in this we will start studying about the xerophytic habitat, how a barren land or a desert land will get converted into a forest. So here lichens are the first organism which occupies, I have told you. They secrete the lichens. What do they do here? Here you can see this. This is the lichens. They occupy the barren rocks or the land. They secrete what acids and dissolves the rocks and helping the weathering and formation of the soil. Now the soil is ready, immediately plant starts growing on that. Finally, after few years, as the time exits, after few years you can see a big forest in that area. So that what we call it as climax community forest, which will remain stable in the environment and remains unchanged. So here first it is occupied by lichens, then small plants, bryophytes will grow, then the bigger plants and formation of a forest. This we call it as a exarch succession. Okay. So next is hydrate succession here. This all are the diagram which is been even in your textbook would have been seen. So this is the first one. It represents what the presence of a pond. In the pond there will be phytoplankton here under the beneath. This is a soil bed. Here we find the phytoplanktons which are the pioneers. What is phytoplankton means? They are the smaller plants which we found in the benthic zone. This plants will lead into the growth of the rooted submerged plants that we see in the second stage. So this is a submerged plant stage where you can see the plants have rooted. Coming to the third stage, in the third stage, you find the plants both the side. One is because the soil becomes rich and richer. As the soil becomes richer, deposition increases because of the plant. Here at the bottom also we can see submerged plant and also the plants growing on the floating. They form the free floating plants also we find. So both the side when we find the plant, here when the plants grow on the soil, on the water body, so when it start floating water bed, most of the sunlight will be blocked here. As the sunlight is blocked here, nutrient accumulation will be more, deposition level will become more, and even in the side of the lake or the pond, you can see the growth of the plants here. And yeah, the fourth stage is reed swamp stage. In reed swamp stage, what I meant, there will be the enormous growth of the, it is a middle stage we tell, where we can see there is an enormous growth of the plants at the bottom also, and also at the top also the water level in this stage will become lesser. And finally, in the fifth stage, it is a marshy meadow stage, where we can see like less water body and more of the plants grown up here. Water content will become really less. That's what we call it as marsh meadow stage. Then coming to the next stage is the shrub stage, where water is completely used by the plants. The plants will get converted into a big tree forms. And the next is you will never find the water body only. So pond is completely converted into a forest area, which we call it as a climax community. So this how a water body get changed into a forest form. We call it as a hydrate succession. So here I have written, with the time the water body is converted into a land. This is done naturally. It takes a number of years. But some pond in the cities and all, you would have been heard the ponds are being acquired. The ponds have been acquired. How do they acquire? By the land mafia, it will be acquired. That is man-made acquisition. So that is also one type of succession only. They'll go dump the soil there, waste there, and finally rocks there. And after few days, you can see there is no lake only or pond only. It would have been converted into the barren land. And barren land will be having one board telling it's mine. And then the next 2-3 years, you can see a big buildings seen over there. This is very common. Usually in city sites, you would have been seen. Uh, Especially in Bangalore also, most of the pond are being acquired by the land, and now we see the land only more than the ponds. So this type of conversion of a water body into a forest area, we call it as a hydrage succession. So here in the blocks also I have shown here, first is phytoplankton, then root submerged plants, then root floating angiosperm, then free floating plants. Both when they grow, they are said to be the reed swamp stage. The reed swamp stage leads to the marshy meadow stage. Then the shrubs are grown. The shrubs get converted into a tree form and forms a forest community, which we call it as a climax community. Okay, next we'll study about the nutrient cycling. In nutrient cycling, there are the two cycles which will be studied in your portion. One is a carbon cycle, another one is a phosphorus cycle. The phosphorus cycle, we call it as a sedimentary cycle also. And this is gaseous cycle. Another name for this nutrient cycle is biogeochemical cycle. So in nutrient cycle, what all occurs? Amount of nutrients are carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, calcium, etc., which is present in a soil in a given time. It's called as a standing state. So whatever is present in the nature, which the gaseous or the soil, we could the nutrients which is present in the soil in a given time, we call it as what? Standing state. Varies in different kinds of ecosystem and also on the seasonal basis. The nutrients are never lost from the ecosystem because they are adhered to the soil bed. They'll not be lost. They are recycled again and again. Usually in first year, we have explained for you nitrogen cycle. So how nitrogen is being recycled, you know very well. In the same way here, carbon dioxide and also phosphorus we study how they are being recycled and retained back in the ecosystem only. They are not being lost. So that what we call it as cycling. The movement of the nutrient elements through various components of an ecosystem is called as a nutrient cycling, that is biogeochemical cycle. The types of nutrient cycle are two. One is gaseous cycle, another one is sedimentary cycle. So in gaseous cycle, the reservoir is the atmosphere. In the atmosphere, the highest percentage of the gases present is nitrogen and carbon. So nitrogen cycle you have studied in first year. So carbon cycle we will learn today in this video. Then second sedimentary cycle is reservoirs, is the earth crust. Where do we find the sedimentation? Most sedimented rocks or mud, when we see the most of the phosphorus which are being used by the plants also. So in this class we will study phosphorus cycle. The environmental factors are soil mass, moisture, pH, temperature, etc., which regulate the rate of release of nutrients into the atmosphere. The reservoir, what do you mean by the reservoir? Means it is a what do you tell, storage area. We call it as a reservoir. Meets with the deficit of the nutrients due to the imbalance in the rate of influx and efflux. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹೊರಗೆ ಹೋಗೋದು ಒಳಗೆ ಬರೋದು. Okay, that is what we call it as influx and efflux. Then carbon cycle. This picture we have seen in the where in your textbook. Okay. So reservoir of the carbon. Where do we find the carbon more? In the atmosphere. So this is the reservoir. The carbon dioxide in the atmosphere Okay, about 1%. So organisms in our body, we in the dry weight of an organism, usually there will be 49% of the carbon. Then ocean will be having this ocean body. Here also you can see carbon dioxide is present in the water. How much percent it is? Nearly 71% of the dissolved carbon. It regulates the amount of atmospheric carbon dioxide, and it will also help in the formation of the fuel air. This is one. Okay, fossil fuel. Yeah. Then carbon cycling occurs through the atmosphere, ocean, and through the living and dead organisms. Okay. 4 into 10 to the 13 kg of carbon is fixed in the biosphere through the photosynthesis annually. So here you can represent, you can see here carbon dioxide is used by the plants for photosynthesis in the formation of the food, and it is plants are said to be the autotrophs. And here how much percent? Nearly 4 into 10, 13 kg of carbon will be fixed to the plants for the process of the photosynthesis. A major amount of carbon returns to the atmosphere as carbon dioxide through respiration. Even we respire, animal respire. So when we all do respiration, here you can see respiration and decompose. Respiration of the animals might be, respiration of the plants might be, respiration from the phytoplankton and also zooplankton. All it carbon will enter into the atmosphere. The process of waste and dead and decayed organism also. When the organism decay, if any animals rot also, what is released? Most of the carbon dioxide is released. So dead organic matter by decomposers also releases the carbon dioxide. Okay. So here you can see some amount of the fixed carbon is lost to the sediments and removed from the circulation. Sedimentation means when the soil breaks, rock breaks also, you can see some amount of the carbon is lost. Then burning of wood. Here you can see the burning of wood, forest fire, combustion of organic matter, fossil fuels means such as a petrol, diesel, volcanic activity or other sources of releasing carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So these are the process how carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere. So here you can see combustion of the fossils fuel. Where fossil fuel means that what I told you, no, petrol, diesel, when it is burnt, that also releases the carbon dioxide. Electricity and heat also releases the carbon dioxide. Burning of the forest fuels also releases the carbon dioxide. Air respiration releases, decaying of the organism releases carbon dioxide. All these are released to the atmosphere. Later it is also required for the all the type of organism for respiration. Even volcanic eruption releases a carbon dioxide, and also mining also, during mining, dynamite explosion, breaking of the rocks also releases most of the carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Again, the carbon dioxide is used by the plants for the photosynthesis. See here, it is used. This shows the use of the carbon dioxide for the photosynthesis. So this is what we call it as a cycling of the carbon dioxide. Then the role of human activity in carbon cycle is deforestation, burning of the forest fuel. That means we use the petrol, diesel for the vehicles. So when we use those things, automatically carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere. So it increases the rate of the release of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. So this is our activity. By our activities also, most of the carbon dioxide is used. When we refer to the pollution, so using the refrigerator might be, then fossil fuels may be, burning of forest, burning of the wood, then from the factories, from the automobiles, all the carbon dioxide we release into the atmosphere. So the atmosphere has more of carbon dioxide because of the human activities, which we, if it is increases in enormous amount in the air, we call it as air pollution. Then next cycle is phosphorus cycle. Yeah. So here phosphorus is a constituent of the biological membrane. That is here membrane diagram is given where we tell phosphobilipid layer. So a membrane is made up of 70% of the phosphorus attached with that of the lipid content. So it is called as phospholipid. Then the nucleic acid, that is our DNA. It has a phosphorus. Okay, so ATP, energy, cellular energy, ATP. So what is ATP? Adenosine triphosphate. So phosphorus is present in our body also. So every cell will be having a DNA. Without DNA, the life does not exist. You have studied. So when there is a DNA present throughout the body, that means we are also made up of the phosphorus content. So many animals use phosphorus to make shells, bones, and also teeth. It requires a phosphorus. If there is phosphorus deficiency, it is said to be body abnormal. Now, how this phosphorus, when a man die or any organism dies on the earth, when it goes to the soil bed, again the soil become rich in the phosphorus. Again the plant grows on that, it absorbs the phosphorus. So in this way, the cycling goes on. So that's what we study in the phosphorus cycle. Here you can see producers. So what are producers? Plants. Here from the soil, here from the soil uptake, the soil, from the soil the plants will uptake the phosphorus for the growth. Again the plants are eaten by the consumer. The phosphorus from the consumers, when the consumer dies, they become water, detritus, waste, and the phosphorus enters into the soil bed. By the decomposition it enters the soil bed. From the soil again it moves into the plant. So this how the, what do you tell, the cycling goes on. And even rock minerals, so when the rocks undergo withering, that is breakdown of the rocks into formation by the process of withering, it gives rise to soil. So this soil is an important part. From the soil the phosphorus moves again back to the plants. So the cycle goes on in this way. So this is of what? Phosphorus cycle. Say phosphorus cycle. So the natural reservoir of the phosphorus is a rock. It forms a phosphate. When the rocks are weathered, minute amounts of phosphate dissolves in the soil solution and are absorbed by which? The plants. Then herbivores eat this plant, and herbivores are eaten by other animals and obtain this from the plant. The waste products and dead organism, when they are decomposed by phosphate solubilizing bacteria, releasing the phosphorus, this will enter again into the soil only during decomposition. What happens here? When the waste undergo the decomposition, phosphorus enter into the soil bed. When the rock undergoes weathering also, phosphorus enters into the soil only. Okay. So see here. So weathering of the rock, when the rock waste, the phosphate is released here into the soil. Okay. So HPO4 to H2PO4. So these are the two types of forms of phosphate which enter into the soil. When here animals decompose, plants decompose, the decomposers also release the phosphorus here. Then the dissolved phosphate, the waste in this water body also, sedimentation of the new rock also, the phosphate is released by the runoff water. The water will get runoff here during the rain, the water enters and the phosphorus enters into the water body, in which form? In the dissolved phosphate. This dissolved phosphate will help in the growth of the water plants. Okay, even in runoff water, the phosphorus enters the farming land and helps in the growth of the plants here. See. So it's a cycle which goes on. Okay, what's the difference between carbon cycle and phosphorus cycle? Mean carbon cycle atmospheric input is higher, the air much smaller. There is a gaseous exchange between the organism and the environment. Here gaseous exchange is less because it is the reservoir is soil here. Here the reservoir is atmosphere. That is why. Okay, coming to the last topic of this chapter, that is ecosystem service. What do you mean by services? Means how far ecosystem helps the man. What all we take from the ecosystem? Almost we are living in the biosphere, means we are totally dependent on the ecosystem, that is our surrounding. So what all we get from the ecosystem is only the study of ecosystem service. See, the products of ecosystem process are called as ecosystem services. So ecosystem services of a healthy forest. From the forest, what all we grab? Forest purify air and water, mitigate the droughts and the flood, cycle nutrients, generate fertile soil, provide wildlife habitat, maintains the biodiversity. If there is no forest, there is no rain. If there is no rain, there cannot be the growth of the plants. Is that no? Okay. Now, without water, we can survive. So, ecosystem serves the man in all conditions. Then it pollinates the crops. The growth of the crops occurs by the ecosystem. It provides a storage of site for the carbon. It provides aesthetic, cultural, spiritual values also. So these all are said to be water ecosystem services. That means this all are the natural services. You can see natural services here. Air. This is the air, soil, land, water. Okay, this all are what the materials which we gain from the ecosystem for our livelihood. Okay, diverse change of the ecosystem is what that only the rain, then release of the gaseous into the atmosphere. All these are said to be the ecosystem services. That is most this side you can see benefits. Here you can see the changes. Here you can see the natural resources. This is a benefit. So these are the three services which we get from the ecosystem. Oh, here, Robert Constanza and his colleagues have tried to put price tags on the nature life support services. See, can we put the life price tags as such? Because it provides water, air, and soil for which we are not paying. Researchers have put an average price tag US dollar 33 trillion a year, it seems, on a fundamental ecosystem services. This is nearly twice the value of the global gross natural product, that is GNP, US dollar 18 trillion. Out of this total cost, the soil formation accounts for about 50%. That is, rock breaks into the soil. We are not going to break the rock and make the soil. The plant itself acquire the rocks by its release of the acid or water content. The rock will get converted into the soil form. For that, how much? 50%. So contribution of other services like recreation, means we go for sightseeing, no? Yes, on the mountains, on rocks, for flow of water. All these nutrients occur are less than 10% each. So the cost of climatic regulation and habitat for wildlife are nearly about 6% each. So totally it tells nearly 33 trillion a year on a fundamental ecosystem service, as this was said by Robert Constanza. Okay. So that's all for today's video, children. And I have completed ecosystem. Very small chapter it is. I hope you have all and you have all understood. If still you have any doubt, you can contact me. Thank you.